It's the multifaceted FARO faucet, and when I drip, you sip. Welcome to my matrix. Today's drip is called Natasha. Can you chill? Let's take a sip. So officially, this is the hardest podcast episode I've ever had to air because I've had to re-record this like twice. Like, this is kind of ridiculous. So let's do it live for real. I'm glad to be back for another episode of FARO Vision. This one's a little controversial, per usual. So I hope you have your seatbelt on. This is about Natasha. Now, before we get into Natasha, I want to take a trip back to memory lane, or take a trip on memory, whatever the hell the saying, I forget. Anyway, browser. We're going to look into Kenya. I don't know if you remember Kenya, but Kenya was an amazing doll that was released back in the 90s. Let's see if we find a cool article. Kenya dolls, a timeless tradition, celebrating diversity. Excuse me. Hello. Oh my God, they have their own website. I can't believe this is still a thing. Whoa, hold on. I just found this. This is so cool. They still sell this doll. Look at that. That's so cool. Okay, when was this released? Let's try to find an old video. Old Kenya doll. Or shawl. Alright. 1992.
Kenya with hair so beautiful you can style it just like your own.
Wow, beautiful.
Curly hair is great. Magic lotion makes it straight. Braid it, ooh, beat it. She looks like me.
I love Kenya's hair.
Making Kenya pretty makes me feel pretty too.
Kenya comes with magic lotion and everything you need to style her hair new from Tyco.
So yeah. Whoa, I almost spilled my coffee. Kenya was an amazing doll. Released in the 90s. Back when I would say it was less racist, like in my opinion. We had Family Matters, we had Living Color, Living Single. What else? Damn, I'm drawing a blank. There's definitely Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So like, it was awesome. Those were actually the best shows. Those were the shows where I remember like anticipating and just looking forward to watching right after school. Like, I'm hitting channel 11, channel 9. I want to see these shows. This is what makes me happy, right? So fast forward, where life suddenly becomes a little more racist. I mean, racism will always be a thing. And I think that's what people don't understand. Racism is never going to go away. As long as people have insecurities, racism will always thrive, right? Now, can we limit the effects of racism? For sure. That's why we have laws in place. That's why we have education in place. And this is why there's a lot of things that are no longer the case when it comes to racism. You know, everyone has a fair opportunity, in my opinion. And I believe that if you're faced with racism, the best thing to do is just ignore it. Act like it's not even there. Because the truth of the matter is, it's a minority now. People who are actually racist, it's a minority. With that said, I think America has taken steps back in that respect, but it's done so in a psychological way, in a discreet way. It's not something that we're meant to know, actually. The real war is between classes, and that is the rich class and the poor class. That's it. That's really what matters. But see, racism will always be used because it's just easy to do. Because as long as there is insecurities and people are imperfect, of course, racism will always be around. So obviously the powers that be have realized this. They know racism is always going to be around. So why not use it as a political tool to divide, to segregate, and then recruit? This is how the black vote works. But anyway, this show was not meant to be political at all. I'm so sorry about that. So we're here to talk about Natasha. But the reason why I guess I trailed off was because I was talking about how back in the days we had black entertainment and it was never a thought. It was actually considered equal. It wasn't weird. It was acceptable. It just wasn't questioned. It was regular. And then all of a sudden, blackness became a thing, like a special thing that needed to be treated like separately or with special care. When before it was more like blacks are American, we're all American and we're all one unit, and it just doesn't matter, right? And it doesn't matter in a good way, meaning like you are no different from us. We're all the same. We're human, and let's just, make this money. Basically, it was about let's make this money, right? Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Family Matters, like I said. They making money, they're successful, everyone's happy. All of a sudden, racism comes creeping around the corner like, hey, remember? And so now we're here talking about Natasha. Now remember, Kenya was an American doll released here in America in the 90s. Natasha is a stress toy made in China. And it was released about over 2 months ago. I can't tell you when exactly because it's one of those toys that is like from Alibaba. It's cheap. It's just a regular, like a discount store toy. But apparently this toy was released roughly 2 months ago because based on my research and the videos that I was checking online, the oldest video I saw with Natasha in it was like 2 months old. Now, I'm not using a VPN. I'm not deep diving into the web. I'm not going on a dark web or anything like that. Or, rather just using VPN to change my my region. I didn't do all of that, so I can't say for sure that it's only 2 months old. So, cut me some slack. But yeah, so Natasha is a stress doll that's actually fashioned after a black baby. And so at first glance, it's disturbing just off rip because it's a stress toy. Stress toys are meant to be stretched, pressed, just basically used and worn out, because that's the whole purpose of a stress toy, is to relieve stress. And so sometimes by squeezing things or stretching or pressing things, you get instant relief. And this is mostly for those with anxiety that do suffer from stress, So a lot, there's a whole industry behind this, I'm sure, that releases a bunch of toys based on this market that they know exists, right? Again, because it's always about sales. It's always about knowing your demographic, right? And so they decided to create Natasha, which is a stress doll fashioned after a black baby. Now, the thing about Natasha is something that I found out immediately during my research on Natasha is that according to a Chinese article that was translated, this doll is named Natasha because it is a close derivative of the word trash. Now, I have no idea how true this is, but if so, that's clearly disrespectful. I mean, obviously. Yeah. So it's already sounding pretty bad, right? It's sounding pretty bad, but wait till you'll see, which right here you can see.
妈呀，我Natasha，
哎，你这报的什么？Natasha，愣你Natasha。
咦，哎呀，死咯！
I guess that's just weird, right? Like, I'm sorry. It's hysterical because it's very, like, why? Like,
Huh?
but on a serious note, it's disturbing. And, like, let's even put the racism aside. Why is it disturbing? Because it's a baby, right? Like, make it a white baby. Either way, it's just weird. Why would you even create a stress toy like that fashioned after a baby? Like, what are you trying to send a message? Like, hey, babies, bro. Babies. You know? And they did release it in multiple skin tones. Actually, I think there's a white one and a black one. But I think what happened was people just started buying the black one as a joke, I guess. And it just got out of hand. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, hey, actually, I didn't say this, but let me say it. Black cells, if you didn't know, this has been known for decades. You know, dating right back to, like, you know, slave days, and after the Civil War and stuff, whites were using blacks to make money, basically, because damn, I don't know what it is about Caucasians, but man, they just know what is lucrative and they jump on it and they make it work, because that's exactly what they did with black products. They immediately went to work on marketing the blacks and creating products that would appeal to blacks. And they made money off of blacks, off of the black market. And so China, you know, they're following along. They're learning from each other. They've been learning from each other for years. So they're like, hey, let's make a black baby doll. Baby stress doll. Boom. What does China do? Buy a whole bunch of them. It works. It works. Goes to show you. What worked in the freaking 50s, 40s, or whatever, 50s, 60s, is working now, today, 2026. So, yes, on one hand, it seems hella racist. It seems hella racist. And on the other hand, it seems like they're just bitten by the popularity bug. They're just really into this Natasha doll. I mean, look at this. Look what they're doing.
Mala fama, se la pasan diciendo que soy mala, porque no me aguanto drama de nada. Más si vienes a mi cama, a mi cama.
I mean, we got the freaking the turtle version because obviously that that swimming Natasha is definitely modeled after that plastic turtle toy that you see like when you go to discount stores in New York. Really, you see a tub full of water, and then there's the mechanical turtle toy just swimming in it, and every kid that walks by there is gonna be like, "Ma, I want that," because it's like, well, maybe not now, but back in the day, that was definitely something we wanted. We loved water toys for some reason. But yeah, so we got the swimming Natasha, which is also extra racist because, like, there's that stereotype about blacks not being able to swim. So is this tongue in cheek stuff? Like, did they do this trying to be funny? Where they're like, what's funny? Like, man, if this black baby can swim, and then they made the swimming version of the Natasha doll. I don't know, but then you make gummies. I mean, gummies is a big ass W, and then you make the iPhone case, bro. That's goated. Once you get that iPhone case, it's like having a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame or whatever the hell that strip. Yeah, bro, it's like having your star there on the floor. But on a serious note, though, I did find out some things about China, and let me tell you, apparently they are actually racist against blacks. And what I found was not nice, let me tell you. It was quite disappointing, honestly. The material is old. It's a couple of years old, but apparently this was covered by BBC, so that's something to consider. It's pretty significant, like BBC, right? Apparently, it didn't get enough traction, not enough news coverage, not enough media attention, and so of course, it was forgotten, never really considered or even looked into, except for those that actually did the journalism, right? I'll paste the link below in the description box. You'll see it for yourself. It's actually a Twitter post of a shared video, and then when I clicked on the video, I didn't see a source. So if anyone can find a source, that'd be great. It's actually also, it seems to be a podcast or a show, and I wish I knew exactly who the person is, but yeah. So if you can find that out, that would be great. So yeah, very controversial. News outlets are starting to pick it up, actually American news outlets, and apparently China has responded. I'm not sure about this. This is something that I just saw, a headline that I just saw a couple of hours ago, so that's also something I can look into. But for right now, I just thought it would be good to bring to your attention the stress doll Natasha, and the things that I found out about China, which you're gonna click on that link in the description box and see for yourself. So yeah, interesting times, interesting things, and interesting humans, really. Because yeah, things are quite strange nowadays in 2026. I gotta say, there's never a dull moment. And there's always something to question nowadays, isn't there? So yeah, it was my pleasure to interrupt your regularly scheduled programming. This was another episode of FARO Vision. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time. Ciao.